Today I'm going to start going over the process of converting a portable contractor's table saw into a more functional cabinet maker style table saw. Currently I moved in from an apartment into a house and I have a lot more room in a garage for a proper table saw, but I don't have room in my wallet for a proper table saw. So the style of saws, the hybrid saws and the cabinet maker table saws I was looking at are anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000. And I paid about $400 or $500 for my contracting saw, so I figure may as well take a crack at seeing if I can make it better. I came across a few designs online where people had built their own fences. This fence that I'm going to be building is a Bismarck style fence, which squares up on one side. The whole thing will be able to be bolted together. All the metal should be pretty local. You'll be able to substitute anything really to make it work. And it'll lead to a really, really accurate fence. An accurate fence and a flat tabletop are essentially all that's needed to make a solid saw. I designed this, as you can probably see, in SketchUp. I just use it for aligning all the parts, seeing where I'm going to have problems. I saw problems when I started building the fence here, that I would have to have the fence drop down low enough to clear the T-slots that are in the current saw, so I had to drop that down. So it's just nice to work in a digital or in a computer design package first, so you can kind of limit the amount of material waste. The whole unit is assembled out of just simple 2x4s. The surfaces are going to be sheeted, or the main surfaces here are initially just going to be sheeted with 3/4 inch birch. I may do the top in Baltic birch, I'm not sure yet. The edges, I decided I wanted to band the edges with some 1 inch by 3 inch maple, probably what I'll be using as a hardwood, just to give it a nicer finished look, and also it'll give me something really flush and even that's not going to ding and wear over time to bolt on whatever extensions or whatever else I feel it needs. Let's see what else here. The white box represents my current size of my contractor saw. I don't feel like modeling it out, but that just gives me the general idea. As you can see, I've left some space on the bottom and on the sides because we're going to have to build little blocks to shim it just dead level with the surface here. So I made sure I designed enough room to move it either way a few inches if I have to. The sides I left unsheeted right now, just because I intend to put cabinets in here, use this for the bottom piece, because the table saw exhausts all its sawdust out of a back port here, which I intend to pipe down into this bottom area and use it as a sawdust collection if all the angles line up. This section over here I intend to use as storage because I'll have a ton of space for it, and then I'll sheet the rest of it in plywood to give it a nice finished look. I did design it to come straight to the bottom, so you can see all the 2x4s mate perfectly flush on the bottom. If I was going to stand this on the floor, that'd be a terrible idea, because then you have this large rectangle that's going to be trying to sit on a floor, and even a poured garage floor should be quite level, but it's going to rock and move around. But I built it level, or I built it flush, as I intend to put either casters on here to move around, or if I'm not going to go that route, I'll put little 3/4 inch plywood corner braces on the edges to give it something to stand on that's not such a large area. That's the majority of it. Detail on the fence is not overly detailed design, but just something to get me started, so I know where all my measurements line up, and I know roughly how much material I'm going to have to buy and where the cuts are going to have to sit. This is thick enough so that I won't have to use bolts in bolting the square channel to the angle iron. I'll be able to just drill and tap and run bolts in through the bottom, and same with this one. I'll be able to this one will have to have bolts through on the other side, or with nuts on the other side, since it's going into wood. The fence will be the same design, be bolted to the angle, and then it'll have to be flush. There'll be some Teflon spacers in here and some brass shims or Teflon shims on the other side that are going to be adjustable to perfectly square the fence. And lastly, this part for the table saw. The fence comes across, and you notice there's no, whereas I have the maple banding around the rest of the table, I don't have it in the front because I'm going to use this long length of angle iron to help keep the saw perfectly in line with the rest of the table. So I'm going to be bolting directly into the casted top of my contractor saw. Thankfully, it's a casted top. It's not the highest quality metal, but at least it's steel and it's not a injection molded resin job or anything. So it should be fairly decent. We'll get it started. This section I left open. I will eventually either box it in with a torsion box or a couple of stringers across to keep it level. I just wasn't sure what I was going to do with it yet, and that can be added to down the line, and also support if this needs it between this part and the main table. Like I said, this is just a rough outline to give me an idea what we need to start with, and kind of make it up from there.